So I still don't think that, I think raising taxes should be our last resort. I think there's a lot of other things that we can do besides balancing the budget on the backs of the working class people. I mean, that's what I stand by, that's what I campaigned on, and I can't stand by a property tax increase. Not yet, not until you look at every other aspect of revenue. A progressive income tax, yeah, Billy.
So the first page that you had here, we were looking at, it said that the estimated property tax on a 110,000 would be 1588 as of 2015. And then you go below that, and the same property, 110,000, shoots up to 1,700. Now, does that come after the property tax, or is that what?
This is if his property tax, if it passes, if the tax increase passes, this is what you'll be paying. Yes.
But that's not over a $250,000 home.
That's on 110,000.
Still jumps.
It's still gonna jump. Yeah. The bulk of the people that are gonna get hit the highest are with homes over 250,000.
We're still getting it.
You're still gonna have an
The way
increase.
I heard it, that anything below 250 won't be touched.
If we can
get.
get the exemption.
Yeah,
If we can get the exemption. But again, I don't know, I mean, the way things are going right now with our governor, I don't know if he's gonna give us a break. I'm not gonna hold my breath waiting around and do it. Yep.
You have to apply for the exemption.
Yes, you have to apply for the homeowner's exemption each year, and there's gonna be a senior freeze as well. So that seniors' taxes will freeze at what there are, where they're at right now. Seniors
What do
would
you consider senior? What
be, I'm
65.
65 and over.
That's the
Jim,
time.
right?
65.
I think seniors,
It's 65.
it's 65, okay. But
I don't understand. I'm all for the homeowner's exemption, but if we're all paying less in income tax, or how is this going to get us out of the debt? You know what I mean? So like if we're paying $1,200 rather than, our normal is $1,700, we're going to pay $1,200. How does the state give the money to this? I don't know how that works because we're all be paying less income tax. How would we get out of the debt that we're in?
well, I think what's going to
The
happen
property
is
tax would be less though if we get that homeowner's exemption.
if you get the homeowner's exemption, you're right, you're going to be paying less. But what's going to happen is those people that are that own homes over $250,000 are
Although
going
they're
to
not qualified for that, right?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not going to qualify.
Oh.
So
My question is, in terms of vacant properties and taxes that are owed on those vacant properties, is the city making an effort to force the lenders, whoever owns the property, and there are a lot in Chicago that are vacant, to pay those property taxes, which would help absorb some of what's going on?
okay, so I'm going to give you an example. I'm working actually right now with Bridget Gaynor from the Land Bank. We formed a housing and a redevelopment committee. And what we're trying to do, there are hundreds of vacant lots in the 10th ward that are considered ghost properties because they were owned by the bank and the bank just let it go, or Joe Smith owned the property and hasn't seen hide or hair in 20 years and he's leaving it sit there. So what I'm trying to do as the alderman and what this committee is trying to do, and anybody else that would like to be on this committee, our next meeting is the 23rd of October at 9:30 in the morning in my office. What we're trying to do is enable people to buy their property, have Cook County waive the taxes so that we can develop on that property and get it back on the tax rolls. So that it becomes a vibrant part of the neighborhood. It's just not a vacant land that people are fly dumping or, there's nothing there.
But not just lots, but what about the house?
Same thing. We're doing the same thing with homes. We've identified a bunch. We're right now in the process of identifying everything and trying to find out who owns what.
So will those people, whoever owned it, banks, whoever, will they be held accountable for the past due property taxes? Even though the new homeowner's taxes may be waived, that's still money that can be collected from the lender or from the whoever owns it. Because when you all or the city goes after the regular average citizen for non-payment of something, they snatch your license, they garnish you, whatever. Going after these people will be the same thing to me.
right? But see, when they're called zombie properties, because one of the things is they don't know where the people are. People literally just leave these homes.
They can buy.
Well, I'm telling you, there are hundreds of homes and lots in our ward alone that nobody knows where the people are. That there's homes in the bush, and Angela, you can maybe talk to this too. There are homes in South Chicago in the bush that literally, some of them have been vacant for 10, 15 years. And they're just, a lot of things too. And another thing I'm trying to pass is, I want to write an ordinance that there's a lot of homes that are for sale that are vacant but have $10,000 in water bills. Cook County can waive the property tax, but the owner, whoever buys that home, is responsible for that water bill. And a lot of people are saying, well, I'm not going to buy this property. It's got 10 grand worth of 10 grand worth of water bills. So I'd like the water department to waive the water bill, because no one's going to pay it anyway, and this place is sitting vacant, which just, a vacant house is like a cancer. Right? It sits there and it festers and it falls apart and it ruins our neighborhood, and it just gets worse and worse.
To answer that, when the property owner loses the property, they lose the value of the property. So that's abandoned.
But I understand mortgage and all of that. What I'm saying is, lenders can afford it. No. The average homeowner who just walks away from it and they just left it, that's a little different. But when you're talking about lenders who just do nothing, they don't upkeep, they don't board up, they do nothing. That's on the Cook County Report of Deeds. You know who owns that property.
Well, we know who owns the property, and we do actually they get tickets. They're ticketed. There's people, there are lenders, there are banks that have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of tickets.
And they don't pay.
But
they make all of us responsible.
Well, you're absolutely right. I'm going to give you a perfect example. One of the things that I propose for an alternative source of revenue is to have an amnesty for parking tickets. There are right now.
I'm sitting right down front. The Pope was on the TV, and the wonderful lady came up and gave a ticket. I thought when the Pope was on the TV, she says, "Is the Pope going to pay?" Not Jack will pay, or the one in Rome. Is he going to pay for your ticket? I said, I doubt it.
Well, here's the thing. There's $1 billion in city revenue of unpaid parking tickets. $1 billion. So, the thing that's really is such a crazy system is because you get a ticket, you don't pay it. You have to wait till it doubles in order to get into the amnesty program. So, I mean, it doesn't make. Why should we make it double? Now you owe twice as much. So people should be able to have a payment program. You can't get on the payment program until it doubles. So we need these rules are just really they're not helping anybody. So another thing that's been proposed, I'm sure you've all heard, the garbage tax. Right, the garbage tax. $9.95 a month. I am against the garbage tax. Some aldermen proposed pay as you throw. And for me, I think that would start garbage wars. Yeah. People are going to be stuffing people's garbage can, and our office is going to be getting Mabel stuff my garbage can. We don't have the means to weigh garbage. We don't have the means to look and see who's throwing garbage where. I think that's a bad idea. Believe it or not, there are a lot of aldermen in City Hall that are against the garbage tax. So I'm hoping that when it comes to vote, it's pulled out, that it's not just going to be one big vote on a budget. I hope it's pulled out by roll call, one by one. Another thing that they're doing is they're privatizing 311. Robert Ariel wants to privatize 311. So that is getting a lot of scrutiny as well. There's 73 people that work at the 311 center. 73, 50 of them are AFSCME members. They work for AFSCME, and everyone will lose their job there.
They live in the city too. They get hired from outside the city.
Yeah, well, it'll probably happen like they sold the Skyway to a place in Australia. So I mean, it'll probably be outsourced to India or somewhere. They don't know our streets. They don't know our system. And 311 for aldermen, 311 is our lifeblood. That's how we get work done. Because when you call that in, if I talk to somebody at 311, They know the streets. Some of those people have been working there for 25 years. They know the system.
One woman said that, she said
Okay.
that the stoplight like on 79th and Stony, if it was out, they know that you gotta get someone there right away. Where if it's somewhere where it's not as busy, where that you would have accidents all day.
And you know what?
They know the neighborhood.
You're absolutely right, Jim, and that's why it's so important that we do not outsource that. That has to come off the table. That's a deal breaker for a lot of people, as a lot of aldermen. It's a deal breaker because they don't want to lose that system. That's how we get our job done. That's how the city. How you guys let us know what's happening, and it can't be outsourced. Go ahead.
Going back to the garbage tax, what will happen to the money that we're already paying the property taxes? Where would that money go? If we're going to be paying a separate amount for garbage.
Well, here, actually, one of the things I asked a similar question, and we do not pay for garbage pickup. I always assume that my taxes pay for city services, right? Water. Well, we have a separate water bill. Your garbage, if it passes, your garbage tax will be on your water bill. It's not going to be a separate bill because they can't stop picking up garbage. That's a health hazard. So it's going to be on your water bill. So if you don't pay it, then they can turn your water off.
Oh, what a little money.
So it's going to be taxed onto your water bill.
Yeah.
So one of the things that bothers me, if you live in a 4-flat, you pay for garbage pickup already in the city of Chicago because they will not pick up anything over a 4-flat. You have to pay. So a lot of the people downtown are already paying for garbage pickup. If you live in a condo or a development, you're already paying for garbage to be picked up. We don't. I always thought it was part of our tax bill, but obviously, again, balancing the budget on the backs of the working class, not looking at alternative sources of revenue. Progressive income tax, a LaSalle Street tax, an amnesty with parking tickets. That could generate $1 billion. So, I mean, what are some other ideas that you guys would like to see?
Or Ronald Reagan, this country of citizenship, which is now the United States.
You know what, Sue, and I've heard you, and I think you're doing it in a tough time.
Thank you.
And you were at one of the budget hearings, you said, I cannot take this back to my board. This will not sit and it won't. Because we're taxed for everything. They already have a tax on water when you buy the water bottle. We have a tax. Now you're buying these heavier plastic bags. I just heard on television that if you fall and you do this, you're going to put another tax. What happens is that, especially in this area, my tax, and then we're talking about if they raise a homeowner exemption. It's an if. It's not for sure.
And we're making it rounder.
And that's, forget it. That's like me driving without my glasses. That's not working. So when you're talking about an alternative, there has to be. When do we say no?
Right.
So many things have been privatized. And you're talking about people that have worked. All of a sudden, you don't have a job. And what happens? That's how you lose your home. Where are you going to go?
Well, and
where does it stop?
And that's exactly what I've been saying at budget hearings. And is that we can't keep doing this to people. And especially in the 10th ward, it's harder for us because it's hard for me to get development here because they can go 6 blocks to the east and pay half the taxes that they're paying now. They're not paying taxes on food. They're not paying. It's hard to get people to come here. We're driving people out of Chicago. And it's pretty soon people aren't going to want to live here anymore because it's so expensive we can't afford it. There's people that live in the bush that pay some of the highest taxes in our ward. How many of you, when was the last time you guys were over there? They've cut the bus service.
Yeah.
They can't buy a loaf of bread. They can't buy a gallon of milk. They have to walk 7 blocks to get public transportation. There's not a laundromat. People are doing their laundry in the bathtub of their home because they have nowhere to go. How can you justify your taxes going up to $3,800? It's not justifiable.
So I kind of got a question.
Sure.
So there were a variety of reports that came out that said that there were over $1 billion in unspent TIF funds. at what point does the city begin looking at, recalling some of that funding and saying, we need to use this money to fill in the gaps, as opposed to continuously investing in uncertain projects?
I agree. You know what? I actually called for complete TIF reform. I think their TIF has to be revamped from the get-go. They won't pull money out of the TIF unless the TIF ends. When the TIF ends, that money goes back into the general fund. After that, we have no idea where the hell it went. Where'd it go? There's no transparency in that system at all. It took me, when did we get them? About 3 weeks ago, we finally got our TIF balances, and I should have brought that. But the Ewing Avenue TIF Avenue K TIF is empty. The Ewing Avenue TIF has, I think, $6 million in it. The biggest TIF that we have right now that has the Commercial Avenue TIF has some money in it. I don't want to quote it because I don't remember how much, but the Lake Calumet Industrial TIF is our biggest TIF, and it has about 16 million. So, and TIFs can be ported to other TIFs. So but it has to touch. The TIFs have to touch.
What do you mean, territorially?
If Ewing Avenue has to touch the Lake Calumet TIF in order for me to import money from the TIF, but ultimately it's not just me saying, hey, I want to put $16 million into Ewing Avenue. It has to go through planning and development, and Ron Emanuel has to sign off on it. So it's not my call.
Yeah.
Is there a certain
So-
amount that each ward gets off the top?
Some wards don't have any TIFs at all.
No, infinite tips, just in general.
No, they could reallocate. So I guess one comment I want to make, though, and I know you're doing a good job on this, but I guess for everybody in the audience here and viewers at home, I guess the city has billions of dollars in unspent funds. Now TIF is just a separate account, and an account is just something that's written on paper. It's just, hey, I got this money here, and this is what it's for. Now, I understand there are rules and laws and other things that go into determining how that money is spent, but all those things can be changed. So there is a possibility that if the city really wanted to, under Mayor Emanuel's direction, they could start bringing some of those TIF funds to try to cut some of the existing, both the existing deficit and the burden on taxpayers in the city of Chicago. There's just not the will.
He did actually tap into some TIF money. He allocated $400 million to help, close the budget gap.
Okay.
But it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough, and I agree 100%. The money's sitting there. Now we need it more than ever, because, like I said, they keep talking about funding police and fire pensions. There's no talk about funding teachers' pensions. That hasn't even been on the table. Okay.
So the fire and police pay a portion of the pension, and then the city, or through our taxes, we pay another 4%.
Yes.
So why not stop that part? And just, I'm a state employee, we pay our own pension. The
Right.
state pays no portion of it at all. They stopped several years ago. It used to be a match, 2%, 2%, 2%, 4%. But they stopped. And we're still it's a mess. So why does the city have to pay that portion? Why don't we just stop?
Well, here's one of the things for me is that I don't have a problem. This is my personal opinion. I think police and firemen do a heck of a service for us. They put their life on the line every day. I don't have a problem. The pension payments, what we're paying per officer, isn't this giant astronomical amount. And I don't know what it is, so I can't quote, but it's not this. The city stopped making a pension payment. We were funded in 1996. Pension was $95 million in the black. We were ahead of the game. Everything was fine. Mayor Daley said, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to make a pay payment this year. I'm just going to start borrowing some of this money to build the AON building. And I'm going to build some of this and give some over here. He made a decision not to make those payments. So that's what got us into the mess that we're in now. Not because, we're paying too much, we're paying too little. I don't mind paying a pension for police and fire. One of the things that I do mind paying is putting in our tax dollars to pay teachers in downstate Illinois. I don't think we should be paying for people's pensions that don't live in the city. That's my, and I didn't even know that we were doing that. So, yep, Dawn. Now, there was a proposed commuter tax of people that didn't live in the city that came into the city to work, but that didn't go anywhere. I think there needs to be a corporate tax. Absolutely. Why is it that a guy making $700,000 a year pays less taxes than me or you? It makes absolutely no sense. You know, it doesn't make any sense. There needs to be a graduated income tax. There needs to be a fair state tax. And yes, absolutely, there needs to be a corporate income tax.
What about flat tax?
I don't know what's flat. I don't know what's
Like
flat.
a sales tax of 10%, whatever.
We already do pay almost
Yeah, well, I
10%.
understand it, but I'm saying as opposed to the income tax of 1848.
One of the things that I proposed is, and this is totally off subject. I'm going to give you an example. The Sears Tower, the Willis Tower, whatever you call it now, downtown, right? These corporations that are downtown, they apply for tax incentive breaks. They apply for a 6B exemption. So they are getting millions of dollars taken off their taxes. That shouldn't be. There should be a city income tax where if you're taking up 6 city lots, you pay X amount of dollars and you don't get these tax breaks. Because believe it or not, it adds up to billions of dollars in tax breaks for corporate America that aren't paying taxes. And here's another one. University of Chicago. Universities do not pay taxes, and they don't pay water bills either. So here's the thing. University of Chicago in Hyde Park has a $600 million endowment. I mean, people are giving them money like it's flowing out of their pocket. They don't pay taxes. I mean, they should be able, they can give them a one fixed rate. These universities, they should give them a rate, and they should pay something. They should pay their fair share.
Don't they have their own private police force? Don't they have a police force in Illinois?
University of Chicago does have.
Well, they take care of the money that they get from people.
But they have to go beyond the boundaries of the school.
It's the area.
They go around the campus and stuff like that. But those are just some examples that we brought forth, that I brought forth, like that we should start looking at those entities.
But how do we make that happen?
Right.
Well, it's
What do we do to make it happen?
what do we
I
do?
didn't
You
vote
need to.
for the guy. You know, I call, I write, I do whatever, but it takes not just this board, you got the progressive, and you got, don't touch the corporation, they'll move. They're not gonna move, but then talking about it, what do we do? Ron doesn't listen. Ron didn't listen. Ron is a little bit humble, but he's always that fuzzy sweater. And we have to do something, because there's too many people that can't. They're barely making it, and they're the ones that are doing something.
There's a city council meeting on the 21st. Ish, what day is it? And if you can make it to city council, come and city. I know, but and it's hard to call the mayor's office. Call the mayor's office and just keep saying, I can't afford this. He needs. People came to city council last week, and they were reading letters. I'm already exactly the things that we're talking about. I can't afford a tax. I can't afford a garbage tax. I live on a fixed income. I'm a senior with a pension. You know, don't you understand, you know, what this is going to do to my family? I mean, they have to be realistic and say, people can't afford $10 a month. There are people in this world that $10 is a meal. That's a meal. That's a pounded hamburger and it is.
So then people, you know, and maybe this is another thing that we have to get out. Write letters. Don't just go on Facebook. Write letters. Call.
The best thing to do right now is to call City Hall. You know what I mean? The thing of it is I was gonna say call your alderman, but I'm on your side. But you know, call. a financial transaction tax can only be passed in Springfield. Corporate income tax can only be passed in Springfield. So call your state legislator. You know, call. Excuse me.
What is it?
Call Congressman Rob Kelly. Call Marcus Evans. Call Marlo Colvin. Call Donnie Trotter. Call these people because you know what, you guys? It's election year. They're all up for election. So now's the time to hold their feet to the fire and say, hey, look, you know, we need a progressive income tax. We need a LaSalle Street tax for this corporate America to start paying and stop balancing the budget on the backs of the working class. And while you're at it, tell them that we need an elected representative school board too. That the people that are sitting down there are robbing these kids blind. Barbara Bird Bennett, totally insane.
Oh, yeah, how about that?
So I mean,
There's more. There's the whole crime family that was America's Most Wanted about 10 years ago. Some elements of the city. I can do that.
so I mean, Robbie Kelly's going to be in my office. There's a flyer back there on a date. If you need help with anything or questions, she's going to be there. Please get the word out and stop by. I'm open to any and all suggestions on how to fix this. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm a no vote on this budget. I will see how many other people are going to vote no. I'm a no on the garbage tax. I'm a no on the soda tax. I mean, it's just. We got nothing left to give. I think there's a lot of people that are no, but City Hall is a strange place, and there's a lot of people that are making deals and trying to do, I'll vote on your budget if you blah 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 blah. I'm not going to sell my soul like that. I can't do it. I say this with 100% sincerity. I work for you. And you know what? If I can't forget that. Every day when I get up in the morning, I work for the people of the 10th Ward. So I'm not going to go down there and do something for personal gain. I'm not going to do it. What's the question? That's a great question. You can start calling the mayor. Come to City Hall if you can make it. I know it's hard because it's during the day and it's a work day for people.
parking.
So parking. Well, you can actually I'll give you park and I'll show you where to stand your ticket. So it's in the human resources. Just stick it in there and stamp 17 bucks versus 48. Here's one thing I want to tell you about our ward. This is how we can change things down here. We need to motivate and get people to vote. One of the things that I'm finding out is that the percentage of people that vote in our ward is not a lot. So when the mayor starts looking at wards and where he's going to do things, he doesn't look at the 10th ward and say, oh, there's only 19% voter turnout there. They don't vote anyway. He looks at Beverly where there's a 64% voter turnout, and he says, I'm going to give this man O'Shea what he needs because he gets the vote. One of the things that we're going to be starting to work on, actually working with the Latino caucus, we are going to activate and motivate, and I'm going to register every single person I can. We are going to get Latinos. I don't care who you are, what you're. Pardon me?
There are other people too.
Oh, I know. No. Our ward is 68% Latino. 68%. And only, what's the percentage that vote? It's very low. It's like 5% or something. It's low. So we need to activate people to vote, to get out and let them know that their voice matters.
How many people showed up for this?
Great
But
point.
it wasn't posted.
What?
It wasn't posted in a lot of places.
Oh, no. I drop these off at every school, every store, every church. We put these all over the ward. I did. Here's the thing, Larry. I don't have money to mail stuff. In order to do one mailing to every registered voter, it costs me $88,800. $8,800 to mail something out. I can't do it. I don't have that kind of money. So, every day we're putting stuff out. I put newsletter. I'm doing the best I can with trying to get the word out. I give it to schools. I give it to stores. I give it to churches. We gave it to agencies.
I would suggest that if you want to help us out, the easiest thing is come to our office, just tell us, hey, I need 20 copies of the newsletter or 20 copies of the flyers. We'll gladly give it to you. Because
Do you have an email list or something?
Yes.
Because I didn't hear anything about it until she told me 20 minutes ago.
yeah,
Okay,
we'll put
so
it-
if you make sure you get on our email list, because we send out an email blast every 2 weeks. An email blast goes out with every upcoming meeting, everything that's coming up.
Not everybody has computers.
right, that's what we
But
dropped
you
the
know
That's
ball.
what?
why I'm dropping off papers.
But you know what, Sue, and then with the listserv, I had all the I sent everything out. I sent it out. You can do a JPEG. I mean, the library. You know, I mean, there.
We dropped some off at the
You
libraries.
know, the churches. There's all kinds
Dropped
of
them off at the churches, dropped them off at the libraries.
People don't look at that because I asked what's going on because this is our work.
I don't live in the ward. I'm in Michelle Harris' ward, and she said nothing about the budget so far that I know of. And I'm very active in terms of just knowing what's going on. And I heard nothing. My neighbor who lives across the street, she called me and said you were having this meeting. They're her and her husband are here tonight. I thought it was important to me, but I thought it was important to at least hear someone say something about this
Thank
budget
you.
that I can reach. That's close. That you can touch because you can't get to the city.
Well, it's really important to me to keep getting the word out. Again, I mean, I'm the face of the alderman, but you guys are the people. It works out a heck of a lot better when we make decisions together. So,
Are you gonna have meetings like every scheduled?
I want to do town hall meetings. We're having a women in action meeting on the 19th of
Wednesday, every third Wednesday of the month. This month is
at Crowbar.
yes, Wednesday the 21st at 6 p.m. Women in Action. It's to get women organized around politics.
Community issues. We had 78 women show up to our first meeting. We've already formed 4 other subgroups from that. It's really taken off. We have a housing committee. We have a redevelopment committee. So we've only been in office 5.5 months, but we're really hitting the ground running. So if you please sign the email list, if you want to come and volunteer, the more the merrier, as we say. Does anybody have any questions or ideas or something that you'd like to tell me? Yes.
I got another idea. So we've been looking at some of the empty lots and property. And what we've been finding is that some of these empty lots that are actually owned by big developers are actually paying less per square feet in property taxes than some of the empty lots owned by regular average people, if you will. So that might be an avenue to explore in terms of. I could try to see what we could find. Again, we just kind of briefly looked at that because we're looking at some of the vacant properties to see how much they actually pay in property taxes. But I know that there are some empty lots where for whatever reason they're not paying what looks like the average that other lots are paying in terms of square feet. So I could probably send you.
Are you comparing empty lots to empty lots?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm
But
really interested to know that.
I'll actually send you something. I guess maybe I could drop by or something. but-
Yeah. Please do.
Yeah. Cool.
Anybody else? Comments?
The city of Chicago has Chicago offer they're in the area actually to raise the revenue.
The dumpsters, you mean? Yeah, I know. Well, like you said, Waste Management is a private company, so they have a contract with the city. I don't know what that contract, how much it is, but their contract is they also do our recycling too, which I think needs a total revamping as well. So, but there's only, if you notice, our recycling trucks have one guy.
Yeah.
It's one guy getting off the truck, getting the can, put it on, put it in. One guy, and actually they're gonna take, we're gonna lose 160 streets and sand guys come January 1st. They're gonna reallocate them to rodents and tree trim.
So if your tree hasn't been trimmed, there's a huge backlog, not just in the 10th ward,
All over the city.
throughout the city.
So they just started the 2015 list.
You notice that when you came in the park, you said it's going to mention there are no benches in the north side of the park, the south side. But there's a lot of dead trees this year. Was there some kind of epidemic, green borer or ash borer, or just drought, or what?
I'm not really sure. I'm not an arborist, so I don't know, but I can ask Anita Gilkey from the Park District and find out. The Park District actually, they take care of their tree trims and all that stuff. The city will come out, but the
If
Park
you use
District,
some of that wood instead of just grinding it up and throwing it by a tree, which was awful anyway, you know, it's supposed to be recycled. Couldn't they use that wood for something? Furniture? Because you're cutting a lot of trees.
yeah, yeah. Well, one of the aldermen brought, there's been so many innovative ideas to try to make revenue, to gather revenue. One of the aldermen, we talked about, the water reclamation and how millions of gallons of water get taken in. And with all of that water that comes in, hundreds and thousands of fish come in that water too. And what happens is those fish, everything, the garbage and everything is ground up and thrown away. He said, why can't we separate the fish and make cat food? So, I'm serious. Hey, well, people, I think what jobs, the point that I'm trying to make is that people are really looking to alternative sources of revenue. Right?
What could legitimately be cut in your view, besides some of the
What could be cut?
legitimate?
I'll tell you what could be cut is we don't need, the city of Chicago has a commissioner, a deputy commissioner, assistants to deputy commissioner, assistants to the assistant deputy commissioner, a secretary. There are, and you can attest to this.
Absolutely.
There is for one commissioner, there's probably 4 deputy commissioners under that person, and they all have a staff. We don't need all that.
So we have 8 deputy commissioners.
Okay, so
We have in the health department, they have cut us so bad, and they just getting rid of the mammogram program, they're getting rid of the HIV, STI program.
no, they're not getting rid of it. They're private.
They're private. Well, to me,
It's
we
getting
don't
rid of
have it. That means jobs and everything. And we actually have 8 deputy commissioners, and it's crazy because you have the commissioner, then you have 3 deputy commissioners, then you have the next staff of deputy commissioners. Because when they ask me, what would you do? I said, I get rid of all of them.
We don't need
all that.
We don't need all that bureaucracy. We really don't need all that.
And we don't need it.
And how much money would that generate?
Oh my God.
It would generate. Deputy commissioners are making probably about $125,000. So I mean, if I knew, I'd let you know. I mean, and and another thing we can get rid of is all the committees. We don't need committees. There is a committee on committees. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I sit on the education committee. If you're a committee chair, you get an extra like $120,000 in your budget, in your office budget. The education committee is made up of 11 aldermen, but we have no say. It has no teeth. CPS is a separate entity. We cannot instill policy. We cannot instill rules. We cannot instill anything. So why do we have a committee? Why do we have a committee on that? For what? For patronage. For the mayor's relatives or friends that get to be a commissioner because a committee chair. They're appointed by the mayor. So, we could get rid of committees. We don't need a committee on rules and ethics, and we don't need a committee on transportation, a committee on public way, a committee on aviation. You can't do anything with it. You can't make rules. The airports are regulated by the FAA, the federal government. We can't make
abolish these.
You said it already.
I brought it up. Why do we have all these committees? You know what I was told? Patronage. That was the word, and that was by Alderman Burke, who's been an alderman for 44 years. 44 years. You know, and that's what it is. That's what it is. So I mean, there's how many? There's 8 committees. So that's $1 million almost. You know, give or take. If everybody's getting 150,000 to be a chair.
Usually they give it to the relatives and friends, but unless you just occasionally happen to know about somebody, I mean, like the papers every once a year or so, oh, they give me your daily bill, and you never think of that name or something.
Wait, there are aldermen in there that have 20, and I'm not going to mention any names, but 20 to 30 family members.
Well,
Grandsons, uncles, cousins, all their sons, all their daughters, their grandchildren. I'm not kidding.
It's a monarchy.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? But does anybody have any other questions, concerns? Yes.
You mentioned
I didn't mention the selling of the Thompson Center, but from now they're talking about that's state money, right? That's state money. I don't know what's going to happen. Now I'm hearing that they're going to knock it down and sell the land. Pardon me?
They want all the state agencies to move out, and then find their own locations and pay rent.
There's a lot of vacant buildings they could use.
Anybody else? Guys, I will try to keep you informed as best as I can. The vote on this budget is October 28th. You are welcome to come to City Hall. If you want to be in there for that vote, let me know. I'll reserve you some seats on the floor. I welcome it. Yeah, I can reserve some seats on the floor. So,
how many?
well, I could maybe 5. So please let me know. Call the office. But if you're whoever answers the phone, if you want to come to City Hall and at any time, it doesn't have to be just on the 28th. But if you want to come, please let me know. Washington and Bowen here today.
So with all the suggestions that have been mentioned, have any of them been taken into
No,
consideration?
he has not used one thing. Not one thing. Ron Emanuel has. The Progressive Caucus. I sit on the Progressive Caucus with 11 aldermen. We gave him 13 ideas, and 13 ideas that came out to almost $120 million in revenue. None of it. He didn't use not one idea.
So who's this benefit with increasing whatever? Who is this benefit? I know it's supposed to benefit to decrease the budget, but really, who is it benefiting?
It's not benefiting us. That's
I
for
know
sure.
that.
It's
But I
benefiting.
mean, in City Hall, because to choose these particular avenues or particular budget friendly or unfriendly things that they want to do, who's benefiting from it? Why these and why not the suggestions that other aldermen are giving?
City developers.
One of the things that I'm noticing now is that the people who make the most money are not getting touched by. They're out of the picture. So those are the people that are benefiting because they're not the ones that are being taxed. The LaSalle Street tax, the corporations that are downtown, the millionaires pay less tax, less income tax than we do. They're not being touched. It's us all the time. Us. So
This might sound stupid.
no, that sounds stupid.
You know, like when we have all these big events, and they make all this money, what is that?
Into the general fund.
And what is that?
Good question.
I mean, seriously, because it's not like we don't have tourists. It's not like we don't have these things. Something that we have to all do, like what they had at what was it football or something?
Oh, the NFL draft.
Yeah. And from what I understand, they didn't have to pay any money.
No.
So why can't the aldermen say from now on, I think we should pass this that anything that comes up, they have to pay?
Okay, so let me tell you, there's another thing. And I can't make this up. Okay, so everybody heard Live Nation. Live Nation and Consequenza, right?
Right.
Okay, Live Nation has the rights to Grant Park and Northerly Island. NFL Draft comes there, Live Nation profits from NFL Draft coming. Okay? Concerts at Northerly Island, they benefit from it. They have exclusive rights. I don't care if they have a dog show in Grant Park, Live Nation benefits.
How does that?
Guess who owns Live Nation? Ari Emanuel. He has stock in Live Nation, yes. So, you know, it's all related. You know, it's the same thing with Uber. It's, you know, here's okay. That was another progressive former. Uber drivers do not need a license. I mean, they need a driver's license, but they don't have a chauffeur's license. Their car doesn't have to be inspected. They don't have to pay any kind of city tax or rate or any of that. Cab drivers have to buy a medallion. They have to have insurance. They have to have safety checks. They have to pay the city in tax on every ride they do. Uber does not. What? You know why? Who owns Uber? Ronnie Emanuel.
How big is it?
There's right now. We don't know because there's no regulations on this thing. And if you notice now, you see Uber driver cab commercials like be an Uber driver. There's over. We know that they're Uber, Lyft. What's the other one? Uber, Lyft. There's 3 of them. There's no regulations on this stuff. So, but right now, there's estimated 22,000 Lyft drivers, Uber, rideshare drivers in the city of Chicago. What's happening now is they're not permitted to go to the airports. That's like off limits. Rahm Emanuel is lifting that as of January 1st so that they can start to get fares at the airports, which is going to virtually kill the cab business. It's going to kill it because, and you know, these guys used to buy medallions for $35,000. That was their nest egg, right? And now it's, and you know what? I'm not against Uber. I'm not against rideshare. I just think they should be held to the same standards and the same regulations as cab drivers. That's it.
Well, then why would they do that? They would.
Well, there's an argument because cabs won't come to certain neighborhoods. You know, I mean, we don't have any cabs over here. Uber comes here. I don't get in an Uber,
But I guess I want to say that Uber itself can do like cab companies do, and they actually some cab companies, not all, can potentially provide those licenses and other things for drivers, and that's something that Uber itself could potentially do if they really wanted to.
the guy should have a chauffeur's license. And they said, no, in city council, he said, the Uber guy said to me, it's a different business. I said, how is it a different business? You're picking me up, taking me from point A to point B, just like the cab. What's different? Right. There's no difference. So that can generate a lot of money too. No, they do not have a chauffeur's license. No, they don't have a chauffeur's license.
What do you have to do to get a chauffeur?
You have to, I don't know, take a test.
You have to take.
So the vote is on October 28th. The 21st is to first publish the budget, which is basically just going to print the budget up. We're going to start doing amendments right now to say, hey, this garbage tax isn't right. You can't do this. You shouldn't privatize 311. You know, now we're going to start making proposals to counteract what he did. So we'll see what happens. It should be a very lively, spirited debate. It's the biggest tax increase ever in Chicago history. I think it's going to be a hard sell.